Welcome, everyone, and thank you so much for joining today. We are going to start now because it's already 1 minute past lunchtime. So my name is Zana Samaj, and I'm a go-to-market for all our emerging businesses, including Media Flows here in Cloudinary. And I'm very happy that I'm together with Alex here today. Hi, Alex.
Hello, Susanna.
Hi. Me and Alex will get you through the process of how to generate product images through AI, and we'll be using either ChatGPT or Gemini, or you can use any other third-party tool, and how to create instant product on model shots with those. And what we will be talking about today is like very interesting and very visual. So hopefully you will be able to very quickly get it and then implement it. But before we start this session, we just want to make sure that you follow some guidelines. So give it your full focus. This will be only half an hour. It won't take longer. And because of that, we want to make it very short. Take notes and whatever matters to you, because you will be able to try it and use it right away after this session. And if you would like to come back to anything from your notes, you will be always able to reach out to our amazing support team. So let's start. AI is here and generating really amazing results. So here you can see a cycling jacket that I uploaded to Gemini. In this case, I asked it to generate a model who is wearing this jacket. The results are really good, ready to be published on the website. You can find similar experience with ChatGPT and your ChatGPT image model 1, where you give it a product image, describe the scene, and it will place exact product into the lifestyle scene. And for example, Cloudinary has also different functionalities where you can provide an image, in this case, Oreo ice cream, and it will give you this amazing video of it. I really would like to have some Oreo ice cream right now. And in a similar way, you can take images, product images, create, for example, models with those products, and then make those models maybe even move and really act as if they were posing for the photos. So all of these capabilities are already available. And when you start creating them through different chat interfaces, what also comes as a challenge with them is, for example, this. So naming convention and going through chat interface is not very handy if you need to generate these assets at scale. And because of that, we will show you how to address this issue and how to make sure that whatever you are uploading to your Cloudinary account has the correct naming convention as well as metadata. But what is even more important, that while all of these examples I showed you, in most of the cases, they are beautiful, ready to be used on the website. But sometimes it's not. Sometimes AI acts slightly differently, and it will provide the results that are not really what you were looking for. So you give it green glasses, and it will give you any glasses placed on the model. And because of that, this manual review of a human is also necessary. And we will be showing you today about how to do it in Cloudinary. So the main questions you should ask yourself before you start with AI image generation at scale is, where are the final assets going to live? In our case, we are going to show you Cloudinary Digital Asset Management. How are they going to be tagged, moderated, and approved? So that's the piece around governance and making sure that everything is in line with how you have been using assets so far. And how do we make sure that the brand consistency across multiple AI tools is the same? So that's something what we can influence in this process as well. But now we are not going to stay with you showing you the slides. We are going to show you the demo and some examples that we have already prepared for you. So Alex, over to you to show some flows.
Thanks, Susanna. Cool. So you should be seeing my screen now. I'm in the Cloudinary Media Library, and we'll just go over what we are about to run. So we have some images uploaded of products. So we have some glasses here, some sunglasses, a jacket, or two, and some jeans. So what I'll do is I'm going to be using Media Flows to run automation behind the scenes to contact ChatGPT and Gemini with the input images and a prompt. And then we'll wait for those images to be generated and upload them automatically to my Cloudinary account. So let's actually see that in action. I'm going to select one of the images first. I'm going to go to the menu and then run a Media Flows. Grab the prompt. So let's run that with the Gemini. So I'm going to add the prompt in the field. That will be sent to Media Flows along with the asset that I just selected. And we'll share the prompts afterwards with the slides so that you can see what they are, because it's quite long and you can't see the full field. But let's run that. In Media Flows, I have here the Gemini flow. This one is very simple. So it has a trigger block that is executed whenever I select the assets from the media library and trigger the flow as I just did. And we have a block here that contacts Gemini, passes the prompt that I entered, selects the model, and there are some additional parameters here, which is the URL of the asset that I selected, which was the white jacket. So this is all sent to Gemini, and then we'll wait until it completes. Okay, conveniently just finished. Let's go back and see the asset. Okay, so we got our model image with the jacket that we have selected as an input. Let's do something similar now with ChatGPT. So I'll select this jacket. I'll run it once again. So in this case, we're running one selection at a time, but I'll show you in a second how we can run that at scale. So we have the prompt. And here with Gemini, we can pass the actual image that we've selected, but with ChatGPT, we can't attach the image itself in the request alongside the prompt. So what we are doing is, you see the flow has an additional block because we need to replace, in the prompt, I have a placeholder, which is called image URL, and that gets replaced with the URL of the asset. And the prompt is just text, and that is sent to ChatGPT rather than the image bytes themselves. This one will take slightly longer, but it shouldn't be too bad. So it's running in the background, and we should get the same result as before, where the image is generated, sent back to Media Flows, and then uploaded to our account. So let's see what we got this time. Cool. So we got that image here, but you'll notice the names are random with the random characters, and we'll show you afterwards how you can structure them to some values that are more helpful. But in the meantime, let's select all of the glasses that we have here. So we have 5 of them. So we can run the automation again. Let's use Gemini here. So here what we'll see in Media Flows is we'll have one execution for each asset that we selected. So we should see 5 of them. They should complete relatively quickly. So here we can see that they're running, and then in case of any errors, we can also open them up and see at each stage what the block contained, what information, any error messages, and it will help us debug it. But looks like they just all completed. If we go back and refresh, we have all of our images here with the glasses that we selected. Scroll down, and we have them here and the results. And then finally, we'll do one more. Let's do these genes as well. A slightly different prompt here. So this one will generate an image that is without a model.
I think they're still generating. But what is the input for ChatGPT and for Gemini that you need to add? Is this just API keys from those services, or what else is needed to connect to them?
That's a great question. So we have the API key for both OpenAI and the Gemini. We have the model. So in OpenAI, there's a few other ones that are supported. We have the prompt, which is coming from the additional block that we have, which has replaced the image URL placeholder in the prompt that I had in the text prompt with the actual URL to the asset, so that it is available to the model when generating the output image. And then here we have some additional options, some optional parameters for OpenAI, and some additional parameters you can pass that are supported by their API, in addition to some Cloudinary parameters. So here you can enter some parameters that are available as part of the Cloudinary Upload API. So things like tags, metadata, public ID, you can request transformations here. So any parameter that you can pass to Cloudinary directly or the SDKs, you'll be able to pass it here. So the same is available with the Gemini block, but obviously the parameters specific to the model are slightly different. So the first part of the block will differ.
Yeah, and we have a question in the audience. So Jamie is asking, can the shopper upload their own image? And my assumption is that you think that the shopper will upload their own product image, if that's correct. And we would assume that they will upload it to Cloudinary. So can you get us through that flow, Alex? If somebody uploaded their own headshot, what kind of product you want to add there? So do you want to do like a try-on experience? For example, if I upload my headshot and I would like to see how these glasses are going to look like on me, is that the use case you would like to do? feel free to get back to us later.
Mm.
Yeah, okay, exactly. So
Mm.
I honestly tested this on ChatGPT. ChatGPT Image One model is not great at this because it will always make that person up. Even if you uploaded the picture and the glasses you would like to wear, ChatGPT is not great. Gemini might have model for this, or some other AI tool might have model for exactly this. In that case, if that model has some APIs, what usually these systems do, we will be able to generate it directly. The answer is yes, but probably you wouldn't use ChatGPT for that because that was very difficult, and I haven't found a model that could do exactly this use case yet.
Yeah, there are a lot of constraints with generating realistic photos of actual people that you upload. So it's quite difficult to get them to generate it. But in case there are some custom models or even ones that you're hosting and developing yourself, as long as there is access to them via some sort of API, it's very easy to connect with them. Here we have a dedicated block that calls the API for ChatGPT and Gemini. But if we look in the available blocks, there is a generic one for HTTP that we can send an HTTP request to any API, and then we'll get back some response that we can handle. So that is one option. But also, if you're interested in another service, then it's always welcome to contact us, and we can add a dedicated block as well for that, as well as I'm sure it would be useful for other users.
Yeah, so there is also a command that VO3 isn't bad at it, and that is Gemini model. So probably it would work with the existing Gemini block that we already have. We would just change the model that we are using for this.
Yeah. Yeah. At the moment, there's only one, which is the Nano Banana model. But yeah, more models can be added, certainly. So that is definitely an option.
Okay, so now when we look at these assets here, we can see that all those assets have been generated, but their naming convention is, let's call it, terribly wrong, and probably it will cause more mess in the media library. So what if we wanted to maintain the product name and we would like to just add some suffix at the end of the name, like how would that work? And how difficult it would be to change any of these blocks for that?
Yeah, sure. So in here, we can actually utilize the Cloudinary parameters for this. At the moment, they are empty, but we can send the public ID and metadata here. So we need to make up some space and then unlink these blocks, because in between them, we want to add some additional ones. There is a block called the JQ that allows us to use the JQ processor to manipulate some JSON data, which we can use to facilitate changing the public ID and also extracting the product ID that we have on the assets here. So if we scroll down, find one of them, there is some metadata attached to them. So we have, for example, the product ID. So we can extract that and attach it to the asset that we just generated so that you can more easily find them. So let's configure this block. So give it a better name. So generate public ID. Our input is going to be the run from assets trigger block because that will contain JSON with information about the asset that was selected. So information like the public ID, existing metadata, URLs, and so on. So we can manipulate this input. And then what we can do is in the expression, we can have something like this, which goes through and extracts the public ID of the asset we selected. And then we have a suffix, which in this case I've just added as with model, and we join the two strings together. So that will make up our public ID dynamically, depending on the input image. So we can save that. Now we also want to do the same thing, but for the product ID. So we'll add another block here. We'll connect it again. This one looking cool. Extract product ID. We'll have the same input because that will contain the data that we want. And then we can add a JQ expression here, which goes through metadata, which is a list. So we'll go through each item of metadata that we have. As we saw, there are numerous fields against an asset, so we want to find the right field. So we'll go through it and we'll look for one where the ID of the field is product ID because that holds the data that we want. And then here we can extract it from the value because it's an enum field, so it's a multi-select. We need to find the first element and we can grab that here. So now we want to connect it back to the block that will query OpenAI, and now we need to pass it in the parameters here. So we can go ahead and enter public ID. That's the API parameter if you're calling the API directly, and we can just pass it the value of that relevant block, which is generate public ID. And then in the metadata, we'll do the same. So this is an object, and the key is the external ID that we want to update. In this case, it's only the product ID. But we can also merge any other metadata from the original asset that we selected. So this is a list, so we need a list, and then we'll enter here the value from, not that one, wrong key. Okay, so that looks good. We have the right values, we have commas in the right places, so we can click done, and then save. So once it saves, we can go back and re-trigger this. So let's pick again, for example, the yellow jacket. Okay, let's see. And in this case, we're just manipulating some data that we have as an input, and we're changing it and reusing it. But there are tons of other blocks that you can use that allow you to have different branches in your logic in case you want to have conditions for certain assets. You can have a different flow. Yeah, tons of other blocks for utilities or calling other Cloudinary APIs or add-ons, moving things around. So definitely check it out in case you have any other additional requirements that are more complex than the ones we're demoing here. We want to show you the capabilities, but of course your requirements may be different, and for sure there's a way to achieve it within Media Flows.
Yeah. And by the way, if you're struggling with building that flow for the first time, there is also the Surfer AI, where you basically specify to Surfer what would you like to build, and it will build the flow for you. So just in case you think that would be difficult, we can definitely help with that. I don't know, Alex, if it already generated. Can we look at it from the front end side about like how are we going to now check that everything is actually correct and in line?
Yep. So it should be done quite soon, but once it's uploaded, we should open the asset and find that the product ID is populated, and then the name actually looks like the one we selected. So the asset that we have here, and then we have the suffix that we added, which was with model.
I think the yellow jacket already has one.
Yeah.
With the correct naming convention.
Yep. It looks like it finished as well. So if we find it, it's going to be this one, which is the prefix of the input image plus the product ID that we specified as well. So it extracted the same one. And we can use this either as a prefix search here to find the two assets, or also via the product ID, which is available here. So we have a product ID field. If I remember the value, then I can search for it here as well.
Okay, so now, like Alex showed already one way how to find these assets and how to see them next to each other. But of course, like in Cloudinary Digital Asset Management, there are multiple ways how you can preview multiple assets next to each other and when their naming convention is correct. So let me just maybe share my digital asset management to see and to show how this can be previewed to make sure that we will be able to review that. So I'm currently on my digital asset management homepage. So that's the place where everyone lands as soon as they visit digital asset management. And I have my favorites here. And my favorites could be favorite searches, favorite folders, favorite collections. And I added my favorite search, which is basically a list of assets that I just uploaded. And I would like to see those created through AI and those that I uploaded, that they are really the same product. So for example, if I review this asset with this asset right next to each other, I can see that there is a very high visual quality of the product. So probably for this asset, I would decide to approve that. So the asset will be approved and we will be able to either move forward with it or use it somewhere for example, the website and publish it. And in the similar way, if I see all the assets here, I will be able to preview those assets and make sure that they are looking very similar. And why we showed you, for example, change in the naming convention. So if I have different assets who have similar name, I can just sort my results here by the display name, and I will see exactly two assets next to each other that have the same name. So we can preview basically set of products that are with the same name, one after another, to make sure that those assets are really correct and that you will be able to approve them and publish them somewhere on the website. So this is a very easy and quick way how you can review assets and then make sure that it's all correct. If there are any annotations needed or any other checks, in that case, feel free to review also the creative approval process in Cloudinary, which allows annotations, assigning approvals to different users. So it's a little bit more robust and more complicated way of how to approve assets, but it really depends on what your company needs and requires. All right. So I think we are getting to the end of the session. Thank you so much for the questions that you have asked. It's a very interesting use case also to upload people's face and show them how the product will look like on them. I'm sure there will be a lot of real life examples. And if you're going to use it for any real life examples, please let us know about them. Like, we would like to know, and maybe we would even like to help you build them if there is any help needed. It's always good to see where this flows have implications and where they are being used. Thank you so much for joining us today, and hopefully it was helpful, useful, and we will see you on other Cloudinary Cafe sessions. So thank you and have a great day.
Thank you.